To preface this, I just want to say, first of all, thanks for letting us come here. And second of all, this is kind of an investor pitch that we would like feedback on and just kind of get your thoughts in whatever capacity you guys have. But yeah, my name is Brian Britton with Thrive, and I quit a job I really liked a couple of years ago to work on Thrive full-time and have not regretted a single day of that. And I'm excited to tell you a story of how we're going to change the irrigation industry. To start out, we usually like to talk about a little bit of background about the irrigation industry. There's kind of some main components for a typical sprinkler system. You have your controller, which is like the brains of the system, tells it when to turn on and off. And it sends a signal underground through wire, which can be anywhere from 10 feet to over a mile. Sends a signal to your valves, which then open and close to allow water to flow to your sprinkler heads. And as you can imagine, this industry it's big and it's boring. The irrigation automation is projected to be $8.9 billion in the next 5 years, growing at 16.8% per year. Controllers are about $1.2 billion of that market. And you're probably thinking, okay, wait, I've seen systems that are smart, you control with your phone. There's no way they wire all these systems. And you'd be right, there are systems you can control with your phone, but it's only wireless from your phone to the controller. There will always be wire from your controller out to your valves. And this wiring can present a lot of issues for landscapers. It's visually displeasing, it's time-consuming and labor-intensive to install. Wires are a common failure point for irrigation systems, and it would require retrenching, whether that's dirt or underneath concrete, in order to fix the wire or install that wiring. It's just a huge hassle for landscapers, and yet around $109 million is spent per year just on raw irrigation wiring in the US alone, not to include all the maintenance costs associated with wiring as well. That's why our mission at Thrive is to deliver a completely wireless sprinkling system that is reliable, environmentally friendly, and affordable. And how are we going to do that? Well, so here's your typical irrigation system, and this is with our wireless Thrive valve system. We essentially plan on becoming the Intel of wireless irrigation. We let other companies continue to make and manufacture their controllers, but we would provide the wireless module that would go into their controllers to make them wireless. And any controller with a Thrive logo on it will be compatible with one of our Thrive receivers, which is a device that goes right next to your valves and receives that wireless signal and helps actuate those valves to get your sprinkler system going. And there's actually a lot of different products within irrigation that can benefit from wireless. Everything from moisture sensors, flow meters, to controllers as well. And we've already had connections with a lot of people outside of controllers as well who'd be interested in implementing this kind of technology into their products. And so this would be a big first step to take. And so that's why our first step, our stage 1 solution, is actually these 3 products here: the Thrive transmitter, receiver, and optional generator. How this works is the transmitter would go next to your current existing timer, and any wires you plug up into it are converted to a wireless signal that are then sent to the receiver to turn those valves on and off. And the generator, again, is an optional third device. It's essentially a turbine that would go into the pipes before your valves and recharge your receiver battery through water flow. So every time the sprinkler turns on, it's recharging your receiver, so you don't have to worry about battery replacements. So again, high level, this is your old system. This is our stage 1 solution with the transmitter receiver, optional generator. And our stage 2 solution would be the Thrive Inside, where we actually partner with other controller companies and get our wireless technology inside of their existing controllers and become the Intel of wireless irrigation. So you're probably thinking, okay, there's no way that no one's ever tried wireless irrigation before. And you'd be right. Some people have dabbled in wireless irrigation. We have identified a few companies who all of their solutions have resulted in technologies that are extremely expensive, unreliable, and not sold in typical irrigation distribution channels. They remain in obscurity. Contractors and landscapers do not know who any of these companies are. And why are we so confident that we can make a print in this market? Well, we've been able to garner a significant amount of traction in the last few years. We took our solution to the Irrigation Association show in Long Beach, California. And despite having a dinky little booth in the back corner, we were approached by Rainbird, Orbit, and Toro, the Microsofts and Apples of the industry, who wanted to talk about either some kind of partnership or acquisition. And we also got advice or feedback from dozens of landscapers at this event who were all super excited about this technology and wanted to use it. After that, we raised $205,000 in competitions that we won, as well as a seed round that we raised, which has helped us complete development. But of course, the best validation always comes from your customers. And so we've been cold calling landscapers all across the country. And so far, despite it being a very antiquated, old-fashioned industry, we've been surprised that 64% of them would use this on a yearly basis, averaging around 20 units a year, which equated to around $143,000 in annual revenue just from this small sample size. So kind of extrapolated out to the whole landscape industry would result in about $85 million a year in annual revenue. And again, that's just from the stage 1 solution, not even the Thrive Inside solution yet. And we also asked them kind of a wow factor to get a sense of how cool and innovative and new and useful they thought the solution was, and had an average of 8.25, which just shows how excited they are about this technology and using it. So again, we've been able to complete development, and we have made some awesome partnerships along the way. One notable one is Ravon during our development. They're a world-class wireless company, and we obtained exclusive rights to use their wireless technology in the irrigation space, which has launched us miles ahead of anybody else. We've been able to make partnerships with distributors who are already excited to shelve our product once it's manufactured, as well as partnerships with other manufacturers who are excited to incorporate our technology into their products as well. So kind of how our business model would work. Again, this is our stage 1 solution. Our costs at the beginning will be fairly high, and we'll be getting those down over time. But at first, it'll be $117 to manufacture our transmitter and receiver. We'll sell that to distributors at a 53% profit margin, who will then sell it to contractors, the end user. And as far as kind of what the milestones look like and funding requirements, again, this $240,000 has gotten us to completion of development. We are currently raising $400,000 in a convertible note round that will get us to revenue. It will get us to manufacture and sell the first 500 units, and then we'll have another round preceding that that will get us to scale. And this is the team that's going to do it. 3 of us came together at our time at BYU in a business incubator, the Crocker Innovations Fellowship. And we have since brought on Greg, who has been totally invaluable. He worked for Toro, helped release 27 products from concept to production with Toro. And he has caught the vision of Thrive since the very beginning, and he's been with us as a founder from the beginning as well. We've had some amazing mentors who have helped us as well. Paulo, who is currently the president of doTERRA Brazil, has a lot of international experience with international business. Norm, who started his own company in the irrigation space and has been able to help us navigate our way in business and irrigation. We also had developed a development team that has over 200 years of irrigation experience just in developing irrigation products. That has also been extremely invaluable as we've developed and strategized how to release this. So when we look at the future of irrigation, we know that landscapes are always going to be watered, decades, centuries from now. But they will not be wired. The day will come when they'll look back and wonder that we wired our irrigation systems. The question is not, are they going to become wireless? The question is, who's going to get it there first? And we believe that's going to be us, Thrive. Thanks.
Yeah, first question. Where were you 5 years ago? We had bought an old house, tore out a bunch of bushes, it jacked up all of the wiring, and I was hand watering for 2 years after that. So, is the target customer contractors, or are there people like myself, individual homeowners, who could conceivably get that system and hook it up to their?
Yeah, definitely. So our products will, especially initially, be sold in irrigation distributor locations. So probably places you've never really heard, but like Site One, Ewing, Horizon. These are kind of like the Home Depots and Lowe's of the irrigation industry and plumbing industry. So homeowners can, purchase in those. And if you were to look up our product like online, we would direct you to one of those distributor locations. Just because such a large part of the market is landscapers, that's kind of who we're targeting at first. But it is open for anybody to purchase, of course. And we would, after kind of initially releasing, we would strategize to kind of direct towards DIY homeowners as well.
Great presentation. I know you said at the beginning that you wanted some feedback as if you were presenting to investors. So what is the investment pitch? I know this is not the purpose of million cups, but for the feedback standpoint, what are the terms of the 400,000?
Yes, we will be doing it on a safe, and it would be 20% discount rate. We're just kind of keeping it as simple and standard as we can.
Is there a cap?
We weren't thinking of having a cap at first, just a 20% discount rate.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're wanting to bring wireless control to like irrigation systems. How do you plan on powering your solenoid valves? Yeah,
so again, we mentioned a generator. Without the generator, it would just be battery powered. So those batteries would need to be replaced every 2 years or so. And you can see from the transmitter, it tells you the battery life of the receiver out in the field. So you don't need to go out to your valve to check the battery. You can just go to your controller and see what the battery level is. But again, right after this, we'll release the generator, which is the turbine that would spin and recharge the receiver battery. How it works is you have the receiver in the valve box, the generator in the pipes, and it just has these wire leads that come out of it that you would attach into the receiver. And then every time the sprinkler turns on, it just recharges that battery, which would get you about 8 to 10 years in battery life as opposed to 2.
Brian, great presentation. So
Thank
you
you.
mentioned in the beginning that this is your full-time gig, right?
That's correct.
How
yeah.
many of the other main team leaders is this their full-time
Yeah,
gig
so
job?
right now I'm the only one full-time. We've been wanting to, they have kids and families, Thrive can't quite support them yet. So as soon as one purpose of this round is to bring them on full-time.
Okay.
And like Seth he did sales for a couple of years, and he gets giddy about sales, and so as soon as this is ready to be released, he's ready to just go ham on that. And Skylar's been great for development, and so we're excited to get them on full-time.
I just want to give you feedback on the presentation itself. I know nothing about sprinklers. I've never owned my own house. I'm 23 years old, so you know. But I do want to say that I feel like your presentation was very clear, it was very precise, and it was very organized. I knew exactly, I could explain to you how it works, even the generator, which, again, I don't know anything about, but I was impressed with your presentation and how clear and concise it was, and how you were able to walk every single one of us from, the ones that know the most about irrigations to the ones that know the least about it. You were able to walk us through the whole process and how exactly your product works. So I think that's you're doing a great job right there. So
Awesome, I appreciate it, because that's actually one thing of feedback that we wanted to get is after presenting, a lot of people would be like, well, I've seen the ones you can control with your phone, and there was kind of always a disconnect between what we were doing and that. And so, like, I guess for other people, if it's okay if I ask a question, for other people, did you guys feel like that was explained clearly? Okay, I'm seeing generally nods. Okay, all right, thanks, appreciate it.
How many units have you sold?
Yeah, so we're still pre-revenue right now. So
Oh,
we
okay.
just finished development. We are lining up manufacturing right now, and deciding who's going to be injection molders, electronics manufacturing, and we're kind of just buttoning those up. And then it'll be about August timeframe that we would actually release and have a soft launch.
Okay, thank you.
do you have a patent on this product, and what part of it would you patent?
Yep, so we actually just secured a patent like 2 months ago, and then we have more provisional patents on the way. The initial patent was around the generator device, and then we have provisional patents on the transmitter and receiver as well that are going through right now.
All right, we have one last question for you, and that is, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, we're always looking to expand our network. If any of you guys have raised, that the more the merrier as far as people you're talking to. Mentorship. We're just always looking for, we're a fairly young team, and sometimes you don't know what you don't know. So we're just always looking for mentorship and constant advice.